You've listed a number of things that your firm does for expatriates as you prepare their tax return. You also reach into those other arenas, if you will, with respect to protecting their assets, insurance, health insurance, other different services. What, for the sake of this conversation, what does a typical tax or wealth management firm provide in contrast? It sounds to me like you're combining two really important arenas into one, but I'd like to hear you know better what more traditional firms provide to the expatriate market.
Sure. The old model of this approach is to put the client in the middle. And the client, what I mean by that is the client one day will go talk to his attorney and get wills or trusts prepared. The next day they'll go to their life insurance person. The next day they'll go to their tax advisor. The next day they'll go to their pension advisor. The next day they'll go to their stockbroker. And what they're doing is they're having similar conversations with all these people about what they want to accomplish in life. But what's not happening is these folks are not talking to each other. They're relying on the client to clearly communicate on a technical level what each of the others are doing. What we do is we step into the center of that circle for the client and we play traffic cop. A lot of those areas will either provide services in or will coordinate the services. For example, we're not attorneys, but we deal with attorneys all over the United States. And what we'll generally do is get copies of the wills and trusts, upload them to their online vault, and then I'll actually read them. And then I'll have a conversation with the client about what I believe, in layman's terms, they've written. Now, this is important. I'm not an attorney, but I've read thousands of these documents, and I will mirror back to the client what I think they've put in place. And many times the client will say, gee, that's not really what I wanted, and at that point I will send them back to the attorney. Let me give you an example. I have a client that runs 33 plants around the world, and he had a very, very large law firm develop a living trust for he and his wife and an insurance trust. Huge documents. He paid a great deal of money for them. And when we uploaded them into his vault, I reviewed those trusts, read them in detail, and then called him up and said, John, this is what I think you've got here in your various living trusts, yours and your wife's. Here's the pour-over wills. This is what they do. And let me talk to you about your life insurance trust. And I explained what the life insurance trust did and why he needed it, or what a life insurance trust is used for. And he said, yes. And then now you have to understand, John manages probably 40 or 50,000 employees around the world, very bright gentleman, but he doesn't like life insurance. I said, John, one of the life insurance trust uses is to help you help your estate save money through the use of life insurance. But I understand you don't have any life insurance, so why did you just pay $5,000 to your attorneys to have a life insurance trust done? The phone got very, very quiet. You could just hear John's anger over the phone. I said, John, would you like me to call your attorneys and have this discussion with them, or would you choose to do it? He said, no, I will call them, I will solve this problem, and I'll get back to you. So at the bottom line was John got his $5,000 refunded by the attorneys because they should have known better. They should have known that he didn't have any life insurance to require a life insurance trust. Those are some of the issues that happen, and what we do is try and make sure all the pieces are fitting together.
It sounds like now when you talk with your clients like this, traditionally these are done in face-to-face meetings, but it sounds like you had telephone conversations with your clients. How would you describe the way that you interact with the U.S. expatriates abroad? I mean, you can't possibly meet for face-to-face. What are some of the other ways that you communicate with them?
Well, let me back up just a moment. The practice is located in Southern California, where the freeways are bumper to bumper. Mm-hmm. And the truth of this is, even my clients that live locally in Southern California don't want to jump on the freeways and come see me. So I would say 70 or 80% of them utilize our services via the phone, fax, and internet.
Okay.
So but to more specifically answer your question, last week I had a conversation with a young doctor, U.S. expat, in Hong Kong. And we were going over some of her options as it related to retirement programs. And what we had to do was coordinate with her busy schedule, and it meant that I needed to stay up till 7 o'clock at night and have an hour conversation with her. I was happy to do that. We understand, because of the time differential, we have to make some accommodation to make sure that we can accommodate and make the expat's life a little easier.
Okay. So it sounds like you're willing to have those conversations whenever it's convenient for your client.
Yeah, I would tell them that 2 in the morning doesn't work real well for me, but within reason, we will go out of our way to accommodate them.
Very good. And I understand you maintain a Skype account so that, you know, those conversations can be had relatively cost-free, if you will.
Yeah, I do have a Skype account, although it's interesting the way the technology is changing now. I have a number of clients that have used Magic Jack that I didn't think worked overseas, but apparently it does in some places. I had a client call me from Italy using Magic Jack, and it worked just fine, and that was a free phone call for him. So we're constantly looking for new areas of technology to help reduce the cost for the expats.
Oh, great. And just stay in touch just as if they were in the other room instead of across the world.
Yeah, it was amazing, the clarity of the call.
That's fantastic.